Hey, Julia.
Hey, Todd. How you doing?
Good, good. Now, Julia, you are really fit, and also you are a yoga instructor and a runner. So you are the perfect person to talk about extreme exercise.
Extreme. I wouldn't say I'm an extremist, but go on.
Okay, so first of all, I thought I would ask about this yoga that you do in like really hot rooms or something like that.
Oh, yeah, the Bikram yoga it's called. Yeah, I never tried it myself. I know it's kind of a growing craze. Maybe Madonna made it really popular. As far as I know, you do it in a sauna, but it can't possibly be a sauna like...
Not a real sauna, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the temperature is, but I think the philosophy behind it is to try to recreate the same climate as you'd find in India, where yoga originates.
Oh, right. So you want it to be really hot
and humid, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And also people who like to get the kind of the stretch value, but also like to sweat at the same time. If you want to sweat at yoga, then to crank up the temperature is going to help you.
Wow, that's intense. Well, what about, have you heard about CrossFit?
CrossFit?
Yeah,
No.
CrossFit's the big rage in America.
CrossFit? No, I haven't heard of that.
CrossFit is like, people do all of these really old school exercises, like push-ups or pull-ups.
Star jumps.
They do like jumping jacks. They do really weird things like deadlifts, stuff like that. But they do it one after the other in really short time intervals. And like you're supposed to, like the workout only takes 12 minutes.
Whoa.
But if you do it right, I think like some people actually get so fatigued they throw up. So like you really push your body to the limit.
Well, that is extreme.
It is extreme, although I'm probably saying it wrong. Yeah. So, but it's actually this big craze where people do more natural body movements, and you never do the same thing twice. You're not supposed to get into a routine. You always do things different.
You do it like spontaneously, or you set yourself a program?
I think that, there's a whole website. You can go to the CrossFit website and they explain it all. Yeah. But it looks pretty cool. It's like not your typical gym type workout.
CrossFit sounds like something you do on a BMX or something.
Right. Exactly. Well, actually, speaking of extreme sports, we're talking about extreme sports. Have you heard about ultra marathon?
I'm reading a book right now that's about a tribe of ultra runners in Mexico, and I think it's going to come onto the subject of ultra marathons.
Yeah? I mean, what does the book talk about?
The book talks about this very old tribe who can run for days. Days, yeah, and some of the members of this tribe are already in their 80s and 90s, and they scale mountains, and they have a very frugal diet. They run barefoot.
Barefoot?
They run barefoot.
In the desert, on rocks?
Desert. Yeah.
Wow.
And they are they run as soon as they learn to walk, they're running, and they run their whole lives. And they run like 100 miles is just like a walk in the park to them. They just...
That's insane.
At very high speeds.
I mean, do they have some secrets, some traditional secrets?
Well, yeah, they do. They're a very mystical tribe, and they're not that well known. The book's written by a journalist who investigates, and he records his story of how he gets to meet. Just even finding them and meeting them is a huge ordeal in itself. Because,
I mean, physiologically, it sounds like that's impossible. Like the human body can only run so far because it needs water, it needs food, it needs rest.
I don't know. I think the part of the philosophy of the book is that we're limited by our belief in that, and that in fact this tribe don't have that belief, therefore they don't have those limits. They kind of surpass those limits simply by, they just do it. Nobody told them they couldn't, so they
just did it.
Nobody told them they needed a pair of $100 shoes in order to run. They just it's like it's a natural human thing, and it's like an atavistic thing.
Wow.
Humans, we can run down gazelle. We can run faster than horse. I mean, we can run further than horses, and these creatures that we think have.
Are you sure about that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
That's why people who it's quite dangerous to run with a dog, for example. People who run and take the dogs, because dogs can't run as far as humans.
Really?
Yeah, and dogs can't sweat. humans can run and run and run for days. That's how they killed prey when we were in the caves.
They just never gave up.
You can outrun an antelope because antelope can only have short, sharp bursts of speed, but a pack of humans can run down any animal on the planet.
Well, that's good to know. If I ever need to kill an antelope.
Well, yeah, obviously you can't just, stick your shoes on and set off and.
Wow. Good stuff, though. So, but would you like to try it someday? Try one of these ultra marathons?
I think it's good to have a goal, but I like training for these kind of things. An ultramarathon, mentally, I don't know I have that ability to run for that far, that long. I'd like to have. I'd like to try and develop that stamina.
Yeah. I think maybe in my younger days, but
no, I don't.
Or another life, but I'm going to pass.
I think that running actually requires a lot of maturity. So the older you get, the better you are at running, because you give up on stuff when you're young and your brain's quite, you can't concentrate. You learn concentration and discipline, and they come with age and maturity. So I think we get better runners as we get older. That's what I'm banking on anyway.
Yeah, me too. So I got that on my side. So Julia, now you are a parent.
That's right.
And have you heard of all these terms that we have in the U.S. for different types of parents? I wonder if you have them in the U.K.
You mean like soccer mom, stuff like that?
Exactly.
That's the only one I've heard of, actually.
Okay, so what do you think a soccer mom is? What have you heard?
My image is a mother who dedicates her time to running her kids to and from soccer practice, is that right? And also drives a big vehicle. My image is like a big SUV or a big four-wheel drive.
Right. I think it's like a parent that has many scheduled events for their child.
Okay.
So like maybe they have swim class, soccer practice, ballet, stuff like that.
Oh, maybe I'm a little bit of a soccer mom.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I think it's a good term. I think a soccer mom usually is considered a caring parent.
Okay.
And they try to have their child do like productive
Must be
things.
quite an affluent, perhaps middle class kind of parent.
Yeah, exactly. Now we have the equivalent, and it's called a NASCAR dad.
Is NASCAR some kind of car racing?
Yeah, basically it's just these cars, they run around in a circle. It's kind of like horse racing for cars. They just go round and round. But yeah, so I guess it's the same thing. It's just a dad who's really, really into his kids. Spends a lot of time with his kids.
Would this be a stay-at-home dad, like a...
No, it's just kind of like a good old boy father, like a dad who's kind of blue-collar, not rich, maybe lower middle class maybe, but just kind of like your typical TV sitcom dad, I guess.
But that's nice, takes his kids everywhere, that's nice.
Yeah.
Involved in the...
Yeah, like a NASCAR dad would probably take his sons hunting and maybe take his daughter shopping and stuff like that. Now there's a couple that are not as nice. They can be positive or negative. Like, for example, a helicopter parent.
A helicopter parent, what's that?
So a helicopter parent is basically a parent that just hovers over their child all the time. They're always worried about their child. They follow them everywhere. They want to know what they're doing at all times, and they just worry a lot. They're so worried.
That sounds very stressful.
Yeah.
As a parent.
They're always worried their child's going to get hurt or something, or that they just are just overprotective, I guess. So are you a helicopter parent?
No, I don't think so, no. I'm very happy for my daughter to have independence, so...
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So you don't, like, if she goes outside for a few minutes, or if she's, you hear some clanging in the next room, you don't go rushing over.
No. I wait for the tears before I go over.
Smart. And then recently, because of a very popular book we have, it's called A Tiger Mom.
A tiger mom?
Yeah, a tiger mom.
Sounds cool. Is it a positive term, or is it?
It is kind of. It actually the tiger, I think, comes from the Asian reference. It's like for an Asian mother. And it's basically really strict, really driven. Like, really push your kids, make them study hard, demand good grades, demand that they do extracurricular activities, really push them to have high-paying careers or successful careers, do well academically, stuff like that.
From very young, does this?
From very young. The woman wrote a book. I think it's actually called Tiger Mom, and she was a Yale professor, and I think she was of Chinese ancestry, and she raised these very successful daughters. And so she wrote a book and basically saying you need to be strict and push your kids and demand excellence. I think that's what she wrote.
Is the tiger? Is it reference to like the Chinese horoscope then? Maybe like the characteristics of the tiger for that year?
No, actually, I just think it has to do with being a tiger comes from Asia. I think that's it.
Well, a tiger does have a pretty kind of aggressive or driven sort of image. Like
right.
When a tiger gets something in its sights, like.
Yeah, totally.
No, I'm not so much a tiger mom. No.
So you're a soccer mom?
More of a soccer mom, I think. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's what I would want, a soccer mom.
Soccer mom, yeah.
So Julia, let's talk about types of people.
Okay.
All right, first one. Are you a fitness freak?
A fitness freak? I'm fairly fit, but I'm not a freak. No, I'm not a fitness freak, no.
No, so you exercise, but it's not like you do it all the time.
No, and I do some unhealthy stuff as well. I like to drink, and I'm a former smoker, and I'm not a fitness freak.
Right, yeah, I think, a fitness freak is like somebody who exercises compulsively.
I indulge in bad stuff too, so no, I'm not a fitness freak.
Okay, so that leads us to the next question. Mm-hmm. Are you a party animal?
Not anymore. I'm too old now.
But when you were younger, you were a party animal.
I'd say that was probably the type that I most fitted into.
Oh, nice. I was never a party animal. No, I've always been pretty tame. I've always been pretty tame.
Yeah, I was pretty wild when
really?
I was younger. Yeah.
So you used to drink, smoke, stay up late?
Yeah, all that and more, yeah.
Come home in the wee hours of the morning?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Okay, next one would be, do you know anybody in your family who's a couch potato?
Couch potato.
Because I know that you're not a couch potato.
I'm not a couch potato, no. My brother sometimes demonstrates couch potato traits. Yeah. He likes to play video games and stuff like that, and he'll spend a lot of time watching movies, and so he does spend a lot of time sedentary compared to me. He makes me look like a fitness freak, I guess, because he doesn't do so much exercise.
Right. And so for people listening, the couch potato is somebody who watches a lot of TV and sits on the couch.
Spends a lot of time on the couch, yeah.
Well, how about the similar personality trait of the bookworm? Are you a bookworm?
A bookworm? No, but I think my husband's probably a bookworm.
Yeah. So he
spends a lot of time reading books. He reads very fast, so he gets through a lot of books.
He's a speed reader.
He's just a very fast reader, and he has to he has to have a book with him all the time. He cannot, a waiting room or on a train or any situation where you've just got to sit around, he cannot do it if he doesn't have a book.
Yeah, I live alone, and that's a terrible trait that I have. I cannot sit and eat and just eat without something to occupy my attention. I have to read, or I have to be like watching something on the computer. And if I go to a waiting room or anything like that, or I'm on a plane, I'm the same. I have to have something to read. It drives me nuts.
See, I can't read on transport because I get sick. It makes me sick, makes me nauseous. I get seasick. Yeah. So I don't have a habit of reading on a bus or a car. Oh my God, no, I can't read. There's no way. But my husband reads everywhere all the time.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, Julia, we're talking about types of people. Mm-hmm. We have some more that we can discuss. So the next one is worrywart. Are you a worrywart?
I guess when it comes to some things, maybe, yeah. Like sometimes I get insomnia, and I know it's because my brain is worrying about stuff.
Right, you just can't let it go.
Yeah, which is kind of why I took up yoga, meditation, because just calming down those thoughts that are just going crazy around in your head. Mm-hmm. So I would be a worrywart if it wasn't for my yoga practice. I think the yoga helps me keep my mind calm.
Oh, cool.
But I have that natural tendency, I think.
Okay, so what about things around the house? Are you a clean freak?
No. No, I am messy, like ridiculously messy. I don't see mess. I don't see it. It's like a blind spot.
So you're a slob.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And this is the one thing that drives my husband crazy because he's very tidy, he's very clean, very neat.
So you guys are yin and yang.
Yeah, he likes things to go in the proper place, and he likes things to be tidied up, put away. And for him, it's very sort of a therapeutic thing. It's, I guess, the mirror of his mental state. If there's a mess going on, he feels uneasy, so he needs to tidy up in order to kind of be focused and calm. I'm kind of the opposite. If everything's too tidy and neat, I get a bit freaked out. I'm comfortable in mess. Very good. Comfortable in mess.
Comfortable in chaos.
Yeah.
Well, that leads us to the next one. Maybe this relates to your husband. Mm-hmm. Is he a control freak?
Yes. Absolutely. He is, yes.
So can you explain what a control freak is?
Control freak is someone who likes to be in control, has to be in control all the time of all things.
And if there's disorder or something's left,
it causes him stress.
Yeah.
It causes him stress. So just simple things like maybe like a house guest. While he's a very friendly and generous and warm person, having an extra person in the house makes him uneasy because it's a factor that's out of his control.
Yeah. So how about other things like, are you a video game junkie or a TV junkie?
There are certain games that I have to take off my phone because they will eat away my time.
Right, like Angry Birds and stuff.
Stuff like that. The ones that just really simplistic ones, things like Tetris and putting squares in boxes, right, and Bejeweled where you change, moving things around. Those kind of games I can get very readily addicted to, so I have to be careful. I had like a brief, intense fling with Tekken, that's like fighting games. I was really into fighting games and playing.
Wow, yeah. That's hardcore.
Yeah, but it was short-lived, and I felt it was like an unhealthy obsession that I had.
Yeah, you can just,
But it was great. I mean, I enjoyed it when I did it. It was fun.
So, Sorie, talking about ocean sports and being on the ocean, maybe you could talk about your ocean swimming experience in Ogasawara.
Yeah, I love swimming, It's so peaceful to be there in the ocean, and the ocean in Ogasawara was very clear, and you could see so many fishes, and I'd love to go swimming and be immersed in the ocean. It was like another world. It was very beautiful, but there was one time. Oh, that time.
What happened?
My friends had come to visit, and so we went fishing. But before they started fishing, I decided to go for a swim. And I swam, and I could see all the way to the bottom of the ocean. And I see this fish, but they're actually not fish. They were sharks. There were white tip sharks.
Wow.
There were 4 of them at the bottom of the ocean. And I just remember, that one thing you have to do is to keep calm. So I did that. I swam out. I told my friends, there are 4 sharks down there, so get me out of here. So they got me out of there. But my heart was beating so fast. I was so scared.
Were they dangerous, those sharks?
Well, they're not dangerous. They might be able to like bite a finger off, but I didn't want that to happen either. So as soon as I saw them, I came out of the place. Yeah, but that was so scary.
Wow. Ogasawara sounds beautiful and amazing and dangerous all at the same time.
That's right. So Mark, what about you? Do you have any encounters with fish?
With fish? Well, I remember that fish in. Don't you remember when we saw it together? We were swimming in that beach called Cominato, and we swam out around those rocks where we always went, and we're looking. We had our snorkels on. It's all peaceful and pretty and like just tranquil, and we're looking at all the fish, and then suddenly that freaky fish like started staring at us. Do you remember that?
Yeah, with huge eyes.
Huge eye, and then it started coming towards us.
That's right. So in the middle of the ocean, we decided, okay, let's just split.
We
And,
split. We were swimming away from it, and it was swimming after us. This little fish, like
it was very small. It was like 30 centimeters long, but it looked really scary.
and we were quite far out from the beach, and we did split up, didn't we?
And
like,
then what
I went
happened?
that way, and you went that way, and guess which way it went?
My way.
And
And
it
it's-
chased you all the way into the sea, into
That's
the
right.
beach.
So I was swimming really quickly and trying to get out of the beach, and it was very close to me, and I thought it would bite my toes, but it didn't do anything. But I can't forget that time that a small fish got me out of the ocean.
It was so weird, wasn't it? Like fish don't do that. Fish
They
never-
don't, and it was the only fish. Like there were no other fish around.
Strange.
Mysterious.
So, Meg, I hear that you're quite the baker. You like to bake brownies, cookies, things like that.
Yeah, I love to bake. It's pretty relaxing for me and kind of fun, kind of a creative outlet, baking.
Well, everybody notices it in the office when we see you bring in brownies for your students, and we're all jealous. We wish we were in your class. So, what's it with baking? Like, is it just something you do to relax?
Yeah, well, personally, I love sweets. Like, would eat only sweets if my body could handle it, but
Right.
I try to eat regular food too, so I think I inherited that from my mom. But so because I love sweets so much, it ends up being really fun making something like brownies or cookies. And for the creative outlet aspect, I love to make cupcakes or cakes, and I don't know if you've heard of cake pops, and
No,
decorate them.
what's a cake pop?
A cake pop is like a little piece of cake on a stick coated in chocolate.
Oh, really? That
Yeah.
sounds pretty good.
So in America right now, they're getting pretty popular. There's some people are saying it's the new cupcake. So I don't know if you know, a few years back, cupcakes got pretty popular. And so now we have cake pops. And I was in the process of starting a little cake pop business before I moved to Japan. So it's really fun because you can make the cake pops and it takes a while, but then you can decorate them in all these really creative ways for different holidays or parties or birthday or just cute things. So yeah, so the creativity plus something sweet makes it fun for me.
That's awesome. But what cake pop, is it like a corn dog, but like a cake?
No, it's just like a little round piece of cake. So the process is you should bake a cake like normal,
Yeah.
and then sift it up so it's just tiny little crumbs. So ruin the cake that you've made, sift it up till it's just crumbs, and then mix in just a little bit of like cream cheese frosting, and it makes kind of a dough, a formable, moldable dough. And then you mold balls, put it on a stick, dip it in chocolate, and then you can decorate it. So it can be chocolate or like a vanilla colored type. You know, you can have different colors, things
Wow.
like that. So
Cake pops.
yeah. So cake pops are probably my favorite thing to make, but also decorating cakes. I took a couple of cake decorating classes and making frosting and, you know, using the special frosting tools to swirl it on
Yeah.
cupcakes or whatever. So
So
yeah.
have you ever made like a wedding cake or anything like that?
I did actually make one wedding cake. I never really wanted to make wedding cakes because they're very complicated and there's so much pressure for it to be extremely perfect because it's someone's wedding.
Yeah.
And so, but there was a couple that I knew who were just doing really like low budget, cute wedding, and they weren't too concerned about it being a huge cake. They just needed something smaller. And so I did a couple of tiers, and it was actually a chocolate cake, so it wasn't even white. But so I did one chocolate cake, but I've done cake pops for a few weddings as like favors for the guests.
Wow, the cake pops are just the thing.
Yeah, cake, because they come out so cute. I actually have a cake pop set that I can make where it looks like a little bride and a little groom, like a little tuxedo. And so
Yeah.
those are probably my most popular ones for weddings. And I also, before cake pops, I was making truffles. So that's another thing that you can also decorate in a cute way.
Wow. Well, actually, we'll talk about that more in the next interview. I'd like to ask you some questions about truffles.
Sure.
Okay, so Meg, we're talking about baking, and in the last interview, you mentioned cake pops and some other stuff. Now, you also mentioned truffles. What is a truffle?
A truffle is it's a little chocolate candy, or it can be not so tiny, but it's not huge. It's like bite-sized chocolate candy with something on the inside that's called ganache, which is can be a chocolate or a different flavor, kind of creamy or a little more firm, and then coated in chocolate. So it's a chocolate candy, basically.
Okay. Now, I sometimes hear the word truffles like something that pigs find under trees. Is it the same word?
No. Well, same word, but those are a type of mushroom, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's truffles mushroom, and then there's truffles chocolate candy. So I guess be careful which one you're ordering if you're at the store.
Right, they have nothing to do with each other.
No, I mean, maybe someone has made a mushroom chocolate truffle before,
right.
I'm not sure, but not me.
Okay, so are truffles easy to make?
They're time consuming. So I don't think they're difficult to make, but you have to have the time to put in because you need to make the inside chocolate part first and mix together the ingredients and then I always did it by hand, form all the little balls so that you can dip them in chocolate. And so one batch I could usually get maybe 60 truffles, so probably I had to spend a few hours working on a batch of truffles.
Wow, can you go through the process? Like, how do you make them from start to finish?
So probably my favorite ones are like an espresso chocolate kind, where I need some chopped up chocolate, more like baking chocolate or really dark chocolate, or if you want milk chocolate, you can use it. And then mix that with some heavy cream and butter on the stove, and if there's any flavor you're going to add. And so if it's like a coffee flavor, you can add some coffee grinds and later strain them out, so it has that flavor. And then,
that's the inner part that you're making. That's like, what's that called again?
Ganache.
Ganache. Okay.
And so then you've made that, and so it's still pretty thin, more liquidy, and so you need to put it in the fridge to let it firm up. That recipe can take a few hours before it's ready. And then once it's ready, I just use like a small spoon to scoop a little out and then use my hands to roll it into like a ball shape, and then let that sit. And I might have to put it back in the fridge because your hands kind of warm the chocolate back up. And then once it's out, you can use a special dipping fork or just a regular small fork and have some melted coating chocolate that you can get at craft stores, or there's fancy kinds or cheap kinds or whatever. And then you need to dip each ball individually and put it down on wax paper, like a special paper that won't stick to. And then you let them, if you're going to add anything on top, like sprinkles or anything, you can do that. And then that's it, you're done.
Wow, and then you just put them in the fridge. You chill them, right?
You don't have to. They're better actually if you keep them out of the fridge, because if you put them in the fridge, then you maybe have to handle issues with it going from cold to warm. And chocolate, you might not know, chocolate, if it gets too cold sometimes, or like frozen, little white spots can come to the surface, and so it kind of ruins the prettiness of the chocolate. So,
okay.
Yeah, so you can just leave them out.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Well, I might give it a try, but it still sounds pretty hard.
Well, I'll help you.
So, I'm here with Chantal, and we both are from the United States, and we both are teachers in Japan. So I thought we would talk a little bit about some of the stereotypes that people might have in other countries, for example, Japan or other countries, about Americans. So first, we're going to talk about hamburgers.
Okay.
Okay, so hamburgers. How often do you actually eat a hamburger?
Hamburgers. I would say it's actually not that often. Although I love hamburgers, I love them very much, but maybe only a couple times a month or so.
Yeah, I agree. I think hamburgers is the one thing that does not meet the stereotype, that we don't eat them that often. Like, I never have hamburgers in America.
Okay.
Pretty much never. Like, I'll have them if somebody's barbecuing it, maybe for a picnic or something. Yeah, and if I do eat fast food, it's usually not a hamburger. I eat something else. Like, I eat tacos or burritos, right?
Yeah.
I don't eat hamburgers. So that's one. I think hamburgers don't really match the stereotype myth.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, especially because I know many of my students here in Japan, they will ask me often what I eat for lunch. And before I respond, because they're playing a joke on me, they'll say like, "Oh, hamburger, hamburger." And
Yeah.
I have to tell them that, now I do live in Japan, but in the United States, I don't typically eat hamburgers every day.
Yeah.
But that is a lot of what they think. They think that I eat hamburgers regularly or at least fast food, but their image of fast food is only hamburgers.
So true. And actually, the funny side story to that, or contrary story, would be, sushi. So we both teach in Japan, and I think most people think that you eat sushi all the time in Japan. And it's almost the equivalent of the hamburger. You don't eat it that much.
That is so true.
Right?
So true. I cannot say how true that is.
Or another one, we're talking about stereotypes, would be sumo. So Japanese people are not that into sumo, really, right? But it's an iconic thing.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the point of baseball.
Ah, yes.
So do you actually like baseball?
I do. I love baseball. I do. And I used to go to some games in the United States. In San Francisco, I went to several Giants games growing up. Yeah. So I do enjoy baseball. Do you enjoy baseball?
I do. I have to admit, like I played, baseball when I was younger. I loved baseball. But I do think it's not as popular as people think it is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think that like a lot of people like it, you like it, I like it, but a lot of people could care less about baseball.
Most of the time, I think I hear people say it's a slow sport, it's boring, no one wants to watch it. They're much more inclined to watch basketball or football instead of baseball.
So true. Okay, so Jen, we're going to talk about media and technology, like phones and music, things like that. So the first one is, how addicted are you to your phone? Like, how long can you go without using your phone?
Oh, that's a difficult question. Because I would say I'm very addicted to my phone because I keep on checking it every 5 minutes. Like, I feel like without my phone, my head doesn't, my brain stops working, Yeah.
Wow.
So I would say the maximum I can stay without it would be 1 or 2 hours.
You've got to be kidding me.
I mean, if you asked me in the past, yeah, I could stay without it for a while, but nowadays, I don't even own a watch, so that would be my time as well. So I have to keep checking it.
Wow.
What about you?
We are polar opposites. Actually, I am so bad about not using my phone, and it's a smartphone. Actually, I have two. I have an Android Galaxy and I have an iPhone. I set them down and forget where they are and go days without actually checking them sometimes. And I'll go to work and somebody will be like, "Are you mad at me? I've been trying to reach you and you won't." And I'm like, "No, I'm not mad at you. Why?" And I'm like, "Oh, I haven't even checked my phone in 2 days." So,
that sounds so crazy to me because I could never go without my phone without 2 days, for 2 days.
yeah, well, one, there's a couple things. One, it's old school, right? And two, I get all my information on the internet on a PC. So I'm working, so I get everything on the internet, like Facebook, news, stuff like that. The computer, like you said, tells the time. So I actually forget about my phone.
Okay, then I think if I have a PC, then I would also forget my phone.
Right.
Yeah.
But your generation, you're it's all in your hand, right?
Yeah, that's right, because it's more convenient.
Have you heard the term second brain?
No.
Yeah, somebody at some teacher conference was saying that phones are students' second brain. So they use it. It's you hold it and you have two brains, one in your hand and one in your head.
I would agree.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. So how about music? How addicted are you to music? Do you have to have music playing all the time?
Not all the time, but then I would have to listen to music at least once a day, because, it just refreshes your mind and you can just relieve from your stress through music. But it depends upon what kind of music you have. What about you? Do you like listening to music?
No, I do, but I'm not a music aficionado, and I always listen to the same 10 songs. I think a lot of older people, we kind of get in that rut where I listen honestly to music. And I'm from the 80s, right? So I'm 48, I'm almost 50. So I love music from the 70s and 80s, and that's all I listen to.
That's understandable. Actually, I also have a lot of old songs, but like I just don't listen. It's not like I just keep on listening to those music. I actually keep on adding more music, more songs to it so that my playlist is is updated every now and then. And I think if you have good music, you will actually be addicted to it. Maybe you don't have good music, Todd.
No, the music from the 80s is good. Okay, so what about like TV? Do you watch TV every day?
Not so much because lately I've been so busy at school, so I cannot really, yeah, I don't watch much TV. But during weekends, yeah, I do like to like watch new movies or different series.
Mm. What about, are you one of those people that will stay up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning just watching YouTube videos?
Not YouTube videos, but yes, if I'm addicted to some series, then I would just binge watch and watch them till 5 in the morning.
Yeah, like what shows do you watch?
Uh, Shows. Recently, I've been watching Suits. It's like it's a new series, and it's really good. You should try it too.
Okay, oh, I'll have to check it out. Thanks.
You're welcome, Todd.
Okay, so Viason, what do you think is the most important, hard work or talent? Or what is more useful?
That's an interesting question because I think they both play a role in whatever task that you're doing. But personally, I think that hard work is more important than talent. And I'll give you a couple of examples of why I feel hard work is more important. I think in order to master any skill, whether it's singing, whether it's dancing, whether it's performing well at a task, you need to stay focused on the task at hand. And some people are naturally good at that task. For example, if I'm really quick at typing on a computer, I'll be able to print out multiple spreadsheets, complete a lot of work, and finish my assignments faster. However, I believe to really go above and beyond and master that skill, with that talent, hard work needs to be attributed as well. Without hard work, you might, even if you're good at typing on a computer, you might not want to feel like typing on a computer. You might be lazy, and you just might not want to do that task. But hard work trains you to become good at a task and do it very well, master it, and become efficient with your time. And so that's why I think hard work outweighs talent because I think there's more dedication in hard work, there's regimen in hard work, and once you've mastered hard work in a specific skill, I think you can master it a lot more easier than someone who's naturally talented at that task.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think you pretty much summed it up,
Yeah.
though. But yeah, I agree that hard work is more important than talent. And you could be very talented, but if you don't have the work ethic, then it doesn't really matter. Or especially if we're thinking about getting jobs or yeah. So yeah, hard work definitely.
Is there a task that you spend a lot of time at and given that hard work to master?
I started playing guitar 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I never played an instrument before. And I'm usually I can be very lazy when learning new things. Like I get unmotivated very quickly. But one day it was just like, okay, I have a guitar lying around. I just really want to learn how to play now. And I just put in a lot of work and hours, and now I play the guitar. And I'm like, I am very proud of myself because I put that work into it. And maybe if I was born with the talent to just play guitar, that would be cool, but I wouldn't have the same satisfaction of putting my mind to it and getting good. Yeah, so I don't know what I was gonna say.
That's a good example of using hard work and something that you like to do. That's amazing, yeah. So do you think there's any exceptions where talent is more important than hard work?
I think so. maybe especially in the entertainment business.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could put in a lot of hours, but if you want to be really good,
Mm-hmm.
like a really famous actor or a really famous singer, they'll choose the more talented ones, and often
Mm-hmm.
the most talented ones are the ones with the predisposed talent.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like, no, I don't know what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Sorry.
here's an example I
Yeah.
have. So one of my interests is basketball, and usually the highest level of basketball is, I would say, the NBA, the National Basketball Association, which is run in America and in Canada. And usually lots of basketball players are very tall.
Right.
For that reason, they're able to have longer limbs. They're able to do a lot more things with the basketball. For example, jump, shoot, run with the basketball, and play the sport at a more higher level than someone who didn't have those natural physical traits. And so I would say that in that case, someone's talented at basketball, would be at a slightly more advantageous position than someone who, for example, myself, I'm 5'6", who puts a lot of hard work into basketball, but just can't beat someone who's 6'4", and just runs extremely quick because they're talented. So that might be one example of where talent, in some cases, beats hard work.
Yeah, and I think the same goes for singing, for example. Like, you could practice singing, but if you're just born with a very beautiful voice, then maybe you're better off performing, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some superhero skills that you would like to have?
There's lots of different types of skills out there that have my attention, but I think the most important skill, or the most useful skill for me, would be to clone myself. So there's an anime, Naruto, and coincidentally we're in Japan as well. In Naruto, you're able to clone yourself, and when you clone yourself, you're able to still retain all the knowledge that your clone is doing. For example, I could be here doing an interview, and my clone could be outside swimming and practicing swimming. And then when my clone disappears, I'll still retain all the knowledge I have from swimming, even though I was performing an interview here. And so I think that would be very useful in learning a lot of different types of things. For example, languages, practicing sports, cooking food. And it would be very efficient with my time, and I'd be able to complete everything on my schedule.
Multitasking.
So, exactly. Multitasking at its finest. So that's definitely a superhero power that I would love to have. And what about yourself? What would you like to do?
I'm not sure. When I was little, I always wanted to be able to fly or breathe underwater because I really wanted to be a mermaid when I was little. But I think now maybe just teleportation would be really nice. I wouldn't have to walk everywhere. I'm a little lazy. I wouldn't have to sit on the plane for like 10 hours when I visit my family in the States. I hate flying. It's just really boring.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely teleportation, I think.
Okay. That's a very interesting superhero ability to have.
Yeah.
Definitely makes life a lot quicker. You won't have to sit in rush hour either when you're driving home from work.
And I could just teleport to all the different places and countries that I wanted to go to.
That's pretty amazing as well, yeah. So what else? What other types of superhero powers would you have besides teleportation?
Maybe superhuman strength. That would be cool, I think. Just walking around lifting people up and stuff, or lifting up buildings like like Superman.
Yeah, like Superman.
Stopping asteroids and
Ah.
yeah. But people would definitely notice that I had superpowers, and maybe that's not.
You might want to compete in some strongman or power building competitions.
Yeah, and I would become famous.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be a good career move.
Yeah. But it would be purely talent and not hard work.
Exactly. But I guess you'd have to practice your superhero strength.
I guess
by picking up different things.
Yeah, and practicing not using too much strength and crushing things.
That's true. Yeah. That's very cool.
And are there any other powers that you would like to have?
The one superhero that's my favorite is Spider-Man. And so I saw all of his movies as a little kid, And so I think having webs coming out of your wrist, being able to fly between skyscrapers, being able to stick people onto walls, fighting crime, that would be really cool. But just mainly for the amusement aspect of flying around, slingshotting different things with your webs, that would be very cool. And a very unique skill to have. So that superpower would be amazing to have, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's your favorite superhero?
Yeah, I would say that he's the superhero that I relate to the most. Mm-hmm. Just recently, Spider-Man High School came out, and so it depicted Peter Parker, Spider-Man, in high school. And so it was a very fun movie, and definitely relates a lot to high school. And it was very fun to watch, and I really enjoyed that. So definitely Spider-Man is my favorite superhero.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed his movie, and definitely would love to have his web shooting abilities. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've heard that you were in a band when you were a high school kid.
Yeah, actually, I was. All 4 years I was in high school. I was in actually in a few bands, but I was in one pretty early on when I was a kid. Yeah, me and 4 of my friends.
All right. So did you have a name for your band or bands?
Yeah. Well, kind of, I guess the serious band I was in, we were called Lucky Number 2. I know it sounds stupid, and I thought it did too, actually. But I came into the band. I was asked to join. Okay. I didn't start it.
Right.
They said, hey, we need a bass player. Do you play bass? And I said, yeah, I do. I play bass. Why? And they said, well, we need a bass player. So can you come and try out, audition? And I did. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, hey, what's the band name? And they're like, Lucky Number 2. I was like, oh, wow, so lame. But I wanted to play music, so I just went along with it and said, yeah, sure.
Right. So why did they name the band Lucky Number 2?
You know what?
The reason?
I don't think there was a reason. I think they at one point when they were thinking about what to do, they couldn't decide on something, so they just decided something and just went with it. They said, okay, we're going to decide this and we're going to do it. Mm. So I don't know, Lucky Number 2. Yeah.
Right. So what kind of music did you used to play?
So it was like punk music.
Okay.
So yeah, and which actually at the time was not very popular among young people in my town. So
I mean, I'm not really a big fan of music. I don't really know anything about music. So what's punk music like?
What's punk music like? Well, our band was like, so we had 2 guitar players, a bass player and a drummer, and one of the guitar players sang too. So punk music is fast. It's fast, and the drums are also fast, and the vocals are usually kind of yelling or screaming in a way. And not always, but sometimes bands are political, right?
Right.
So we had a political, I don't know how you would say, but at that time it was 2008.
Yeah.
And, or 2000, sorry, that's wrong, 2004. And, President Bush was George Bush was the president.
Yeah. Yes.
And, we didn't like him. We were kind of on the other side. And so a lot of our songs were kind of politically driven. So our lyrics were about
criticizing
anti-president lyrics, like that. I don't know. It's kind of funny because one of our songs actually, because the American flag is red, white, and blue, the colors. So one of our songs was called Red, White, Black, and Blue, like a bruise. And so it's kind of, I don't know, we were angsty and it was, I don't know. That's how I would describe punk music at that time.
Right.
Fast, politically driven lyrics and screaming vocals.
Yeah. Sorry to ask stupid questions, but
no, go ahead.
So the guitar that you used to use, it's that one that sort of connect to the amplifiers.
Yes.
Not like acoustic guitar.
No. Everyone played electric, loud music. Yeah.
Loud music.
Yeah, very loud guitars.
Okay. Why did you like punk music?
Well, I don't know. I was a high school student and I was I was angry about life and my parents. I didn't really get along with my parents, and so it was a good outlet for me, a way to express myself outside of school, and so it was very useful in that way.
Did you have a chance to sort of perform in public or?
Yeah, it's funny because we thought, you know what, we're this is when you're 15 years old, you can't really think too far ahead in the future. But we thought, we're gonna be popular. People are gonna like this, and we're gonna get big, and maybe we don't have to go to college. Maybe we can just play music for the rest of our lives. Right. But yeah, no. Back to your question. Sorry, we did play. We probably played a show, as we would call it, or like we would play at different venues around different live houses around in our town.
Oh, cool.
Probably like twice a month.
All right.
We'd sell tickets. I'd go, actually, like we'd make a flyer, and I would go to the top of the stairwell in the high school, and I would take all these flyers and just throw them down the stairs, just have the flyers, I don't know. It sounds funny to talk about it now, but yeah. So we played like twice a month for about 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
so you used to make money from that then?
I don't know about money, but we did make enough to pay for our CDs that we would record.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So no, it wasn't profitable in any way. It was just fun. And, I met so many different people from being in a band. So it was really, really, nice. Socially, it was really good for, I think, a high school student like myself.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for asking.
All right. So, Ben, what do you think about music industry recently?
Recently, actually, I don't really listen to the radio, so I'm not really sure about popular music. But one thing I do is I read a lot about music news. So one thing I've been noticing is with all of these new programs and websites like iTunes, Spotify, the free music,
like YouTube,
YouTube as well. Like sometimes musicians, no one buys CDs anymore.
No.
Right? When was the last time you bought a CD? Do you remember?
I don't even remember. Probably like 10 years ago.
Right. So like with the internet and the increase of everyone having high-speed internet all around the world, I think the industry is changing a lot, especially for musicians and how they get paid.
Yeah.
So it's interesting in that kind of way. But I think it's a little I think we need to change how we pay musicians because people can't make money anymore. Used to sell CDs and receive a profit from that, but now people are on YouTube downloading music illegally.
Yes.
Do you remember those programs that people what were they called? Like they're like peer-to-peer downloading software programs. Like I think one of them was called Napster. It was one of the biggest.
Was it?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it was huge. So you would download this. I remember it was about 15 years ago. You would download the program onto your computer and you'd search for something. Let's say Madonna, which was actually my first song that I ever downloaded illegally was Madonna because I liked her when I was a kid.
Okay.
Before my punk days.
Right.
And so you type in the name of the artist you want to listen to, and you and all these songs come up that people have placed on the internet.
Right.
And you can download that and you can keep it and listen to it as many times as you want for free.
Yeah.
And you didn't pay I didn't pay Madonna anything.
No.
Right? So in that way, I think the music industry has changed a lot.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's good or bad. Probably bad.
You think?
For artists, I think it's not good.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not as popular. So if they do not have a very big record deal, how do they, how are they going to get profit? If there's someone like less popular, someone independent artists, like the lower level, not so popular artists, they don't make money.
No.
Yeah,
but I think recently, I think it's a good thing that people sort of can find non-famous singers on YouTube or on internet. I listen to radio, and while I drive, I listen to radio often, and I also listen to music on YouTube. And the other day, accidentally, I found like maybe it's not even singer, just an ordinary person singing somebody's song. But I thought he is great, and I start listening to his songs, and I subscribe his channel, and in that way, people famous people can become famous, and they can make money, and sort of in that sense, YouTube or those internet websites or apps kind of gave them opportunity.
That's true. So I think I totally agree with you, and I think that in that way, that's, I guess, YouTube and the internet has helped lesser known artists become exposed, right?
Exactly.
So there's exposure with YouTube, right? So there's all these view count, right? So, and you can suggest a YouTube video to a friend. You can share it on your Facebook page.
Yeah.
So definitely in that way, YouTube has totally changed. Have you heard the term "go viral"? Have you heard that before?
What does that mean?
So go viral means that a video that's put on YouTube gets a lot of hits, a lot of views very, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So it gets seen by a lot of people. So viral, like a virus, right? It spreads through the internet.
Okay.
So there are some unknown artists that started out with just a YouTube video.
Oh.
And that video went viral, right? It received many views, many people saw it. And now they are popular musicians that people know about.
Right, like Justin Bieber, yeah?
You know what? I think you're right. Didn't his parents put him on YouTube when he was a kid?
I guess so, yeah.
I think
that's
something
how
right. So
he started, yeah.
So in that way, you can become
a
pop star,
Yeah.
right? Just from posting a YouTube video that gets seen.
Right.